Amigos, 2016 is once again a presidential election year, and once again, there's one question in every people's head. How the fuck does the election work? The electoral process is so complicated for Americans that a Mexican is going to explain it for you. A Mexican explaining to an American something that is not why he was crossing the border with 12 of his cousins? Sounds good! So, isn't the election just us raising our hands to vote a guy we like, and then the hands get counted and the one who gets the most hands win? Well, after the eligibility requirements for the nominating process, the electoral college, the caucuses, the rallies, the conventions, the super PACs, and the voter turnout, that's exactly what it is. But how are we complicating something that is supposed to be very easy? Are we our own girlfriend? Yes, we are. You see, first, you have to start with the primaries and caucuses. The primary elections are run by state and local governments, while the caucuses are organized directly by the political parties. Some states hold only primary elections, some states only caucuses, and others use a combination of both. Why? Because fuck you, that's why. This process was never included in the United States Constitution, and thus evolved over time by the political parties to clear the field of candidates. Why? Because fuck you, that's why! Like the general election, presidential caucuses or primaries are indirect elections. The major political parties officially vote for their presidential candidate at the respective nominating conventions. So, there is an election before the election to vote for the ones we think we would like to vote in the real electoral process? Exactly. This pre-election is held by most states on the Super Tuesday, which is a very lame intent from the politicians to be cool. Hey, you ready for the Super Tuesday, my homies? What's that? Well, that is when the greatest number of the illest states holds primary elections to select the swaggiest candidate. That's not super at all, bro. Like, at all. Okay, so once we have chosen the candidate through the primaries, we are ready to vote, right? Not so fast, chiquito. You need to vote again. What? I just voted for the guy I wanted to vote next time. Yep, but that is not your call. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm talking about the Electoral College, the most boring college in the world. Yes, citizens of the United States do not directly elect the president. And yes, it doesn't make sense. Instead, these voters directly elect some guys called electors who almost always have pledged to vote for particular presidential candidates. And yes, it doesn't make sense. The number of electors in each state is equal to the number of the members of the Congress they have. Therefore, in total, there are currently 538 electors, corresponding to the 435 members of the House, and 100 senators, plus 3 additional electors from the District of Columbia, which means Washington, but it's Columbia. It doesn't make sense. The main difference about the US election versus every election in the world is that no matter how many votes did the candidates have in each state, if they win, the winner takes it all. Okay, I got it. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, quit it. This means that the votes each state has remain only for the winner. Yeah, we get it. The winner takes it all. Yeah, Victor, we know. So the loser gets nothing at all, and the winner. You get the point. So, you live in a state that hasn't received any candidate or any speech for anything, and you wonder why? Make no mistake, it's because you're ugly. Nah, I'm kidding. It's because you're fat and a pain in the ass and you smell funny. No, seriously, it's because your state is a stronghold for one of the 2 major parties. Maybe if you're new in this world of politics and graphics and people yelling at each other in Fox News, you didn't know which one of the parties your state is a stronghold for. Well, probably your neighbor Willie, who always wears the same t-shirt and has the Confederate flag in his house. I'll give you a clue. Every 4 years, Americans are tasked to elect the leader of one of the largest democratic nations in the world with a system that is shared with the UK and India. Every citizen on his own gets in line to vote for his favorite candidate. But, unfortunately, many states have already selected their candidates long before a single ballot is cast. So, for many of those citizens, voting is getting pointless. And they are right. It's like getting rejected by the girls that you invited to the New Year's Eve dance for 5 years in advance. So, you want to go to the dance with me? No. Do you want to go? Gross, no. Do you want? Ew. Do you? Nope. Nah, fuck you! There are states that are completely Republican, and there are others that are Democrats for show. These are known as safe states. But there are those that change their minds and can be considered reps or Democrats. These are called the swing states, which is known as the most boring form of being a swinger. This graphic shows that the swing states among the last decade are like Bernie Sanders' sex life, reducing dramatically. But it also shows you that 2/3 of the states could have swung to either party in 1992, whereas only 14 of those states remained unpredictable in the 2012 presidential election. The mountain states and Alaska are very strong hand for the Republican Party, with more than 12 consecutive elections voting for them. Yeah, the mountain states and Alaska, because if cold weather can teach you something, is that being gay is not natural and they don't deserve to get married. But what sense does it make the relation between cold weather and gay people? None, but that's the way it is. Hey, I don't make the rules, alright? I only apply them, so chill. On the other hand, the Northeast, Midwest, and Western states and Hawaii have remained strong supporters of the Democratic Party, which is why we assume that the Democrats have 3/4 of the hip-hop industry in their favor. Yeah. But then, check this out. 9 states haven't consistently voted for one party for more than 2 presidential elections. So, in the swing states, the speeches, the gigantic ads, and the baby kissing are not going to stop anytime soon. Ohio, Florida, Virginia, Iowa, and Colorado are famous for being swing states. And to this we could add Texas. But it has become a rising safe state for the Republicans. California, the same, but with the Democrats. Also Pennsylvania, New York, Illinois, North Carolina, and Georgia. So, if you don't see any speech in your state, it's because you are surrounded by people who has a steady party to vote for. But that could change. Every 10 years, the votes for every state change according to their population. So, they could influence more or less in the election, and at the end, each state's vote count. So keep the hope alive. Or wait until the national popular vote arrives to the country, like anywhere else in the world. So that's why we're watching how the Clinton steamroller is killing competition, and in the other side we see nothing but a stand-up show with 2 non-politician and no Washington candidates heading the polls. Probably this is because people all around the country are tired of the Washington structure and ways, and that's why they're turning this guy who looks like a joke into a reality. That's true. Almost a dozen candidates, but Trump and Carson have something in common. They have a lot of money. A lot of delicious private fucking money. And you could say, with that amount of candidates, the government should spend a lot of money in their campaigns, right, Chewy? And I'll say, well, no. The government is only the referee of the elections. They don't use the money from their administration for any party. Heads up, Mexico. I'm just saying, all right? The way the candidates finance their campaigns is with the people. If you live in the US, more than one time you have listened to this conversation. Hello?
Good morning. Can I speak with an adult, please?
I am an adult?
Sorry, madam. Can I speak, with the man of the house?
I am the man of the house.
Really? Okay, Mr. Man of the House. I speak representing the campaign for Mr. Ben Carson. Do you know who he is?
Nope.
Well, Ben Carson is running for president, and we are asking for your cooperation because Mr. Carson is looking for a better America. The cooperation can be $2,500.
No, thank you. We're Democrats. We don't have money. And Mr. Carson, is you on the phone?
No.
Are you speaking outside of my house on the phone? Meanwhile, you're searching through my garbage?
No, this is a lady. A white lady, actually.
The fuck? The way of financing this is called a PAC. No, it's not the younger brother of Tupac. PAC is short for Political Action Committee, which is a name for certain people or organizations that make contributions to candidates for elected office and spend money to influence political races. However, PACs can spend more than $2,500 annually on a candidate. But here's the trick. This only applies to people and organizations closely affiliated with the candidate. In theory, as long as you're not directly coordinating with the candidate campaign, you're not bound by those laws. You get it? Congress tried to stop this sort of thing too, but a Supreme Court case called Citizens United basically said that the First Amendment prohibited the government from banning political speech made by corporations. Based on that case, organizations can take in unlimited sums from all sources. Those are called super PAC, a good name for an organization or a superhero who tries to evade taxes. The only rules that really matter are that the candidate cannot coordinate with the super PAC, but it could be run by any other person, his wife, his cousin, his evil twin, his own Terminator. And the money they spend must be on things that aren't illegal. But come on, how much they can really fund with PACs and super PACs? Of the total spending by outside committees, 1.2 billion was spent by traditional PACs and 950 million was spent by super PACs. Holy shit! We could buy the Miami Dolphins 4 times with that money and regret because we all know it's a shitty investment. But here's the most important fact. 91% of the time, the better finance candidate wins. So, expect that call from Bert Carson a lot. A fucking lot. Amigos, although the Democratic and Republican parties in the United States are currently seem extremely polarized, they did not start out that way. In fact, these two parties were born as one single party. The fuck? This party was called the Democratic Republican Party. Makes sense. Very creative title. And it was created by James Madison and Thomas Jefferson in 1791, both part of the Founding Fathers gang. The purpose of the Democratic Republican Party was to stand in opposition against the Federalist Party in the upcoming elections. But like everything in life, once you go black, there's no turning back from the blackness. Or something like that. So in 1828, this split led to the modern Democratic Party made up mostly by urban laborers and Irish Catholics. But let's go in this part of the century and see how the Democrats has been in the presidency. 16 members of the Democratic Party have served as president, governing for a total of 85 years. The last 5 are John F. Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama. There's this feeling that the Republicans are good for businesses, which is good for the economy. Republican policies are expected to create a better economy. Meanwhile, the common view of Democrat policies is that they too heavily favor regulation and higher taxes, which are perceived as economy killers. But here are some interesting data about the Democrat presidencies. Personal disposable income, the money in your wallet, has grown nearly 6 times more under Democratic presidents. Gross domestic product, the money in the country wallet, has grown 7 times more under Democratic presidents. Corporate profits, the money in the corporate's wallet, have grown over 16% more per year under a Democratic president. Average annual compound return of the stock market, the money in Wall Street, has been 18 times greater under Democratic presidents. Republican presidents added 2.5 times more the national debt than the Democratic presidents. The 2 times the economy almost went to the toilet, the Great Depression and the Great Recession, were during Republican laissez-faire administrations. If the Democratic Party wins next year's election, it will be the first time of a third Democrat period. Will it happen? Up to you guys. Amigos, the Republican Party, or GOP as we commonly name it, which is the abbreviation to Grand Old Party. This has been around and was founded by anti-slavery activists, modernizers, ex-Whigs, and ex-Free Soilers, ex-members of the Free Soil Party, but we're not going that back in time this time. There has been 18 Republican presidents, the first one being Abraham Lincoln, till he was murdered, no big deal. And the most recent George W. Bush, till he was not murdered. Well, you can always win. The most recent Republican presidential nominee is former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney, who lost in 2012 to Democratic incumbent Barack Hussein Obama. The party's platform is generally based on American conservatism, in contrast to the modern American liberalism of the Democrats. The Republican Party's conservatism involves support for free market capitalism, free enterprise, business, a strong national defense deregulation, restriction to labor unions, socially conservative policies, and traditional values, usually with Christian overtones. We searched for a picture to illustrate this, but we only found Bush dressed as a KKK member. How funny is that? The party is generally split on the issue on how to deal with illegal immigration. And yes, the "we hate immigrants" slice is bigger than the "I love burritos" one. You don't know burritos? What are you? The party opposes a government-run, single-payer healthcare system, claiming such a system constitutes socialized medicine and is in favor of a personal or employer-based system of insurance, supplemented by Medicare for the elderly and Medicaid, which covers approximately 40% of the poor. The second half of the 20th century saw election or secession of Republican presidents: Dwight Eisenhower, Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, George H. Bush, and George W. Bush. And Ronald Reagan did quite well. I mean, he had Nancy, right? In social policies, the GOP opposed elective abortion on religious or moral grounds, are generally against affirmative action for women and some minorities, supports gun ownership rights, and oppose laws regulating guns, oppose the legalization of drugs. Needless to say, they are not really fun at parties at all. That's it. Now you know your election, and it has been explained by Mexicans. How cool is that? Well, that's it for us. My name is Chumel Torres, and this is El Pulso. Your subscription and thumbs up are greatly appreciated. I'm gone, but before I go, I would like to tell you, like every week, los amo, estupids.